to take a run. So, no, I can't do that, so nobody else can drive the boat. He refused to do it, so it's like, come on.
Neighborly.
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought you guys were double skiing on the back of the boat together.
We got a lot more experience than he does, so.
See, he says he doesn't like the wake on the lake, but he really does,
I'm
cause he's
sure he
part of
does.
it. Yeah.
Jumping away. That's why his hair's that way, because it goes so fast.
So when he jump up, it just stays there, so he comes back down.
That's funny. Walmart can't find workers. They're offering new benefits to brighten the deal, sweeten the deal for employees. They pay for full college tuition and book costs for its U.S. workers. That's crazy.
I'm telling Riley to go get a job at Walmart.
Wow, the latest effort by the largest private employer in the country, sweeten its benefits as it seeks to attract and retain talent in a tight job market. The program includes 10 academic partners ranging from the University of Arizona to Southern New Hampshire University. There you go. You can go to Southern New Hampshire, get it paid for 100%.
Yeah, he's already next to them. He doesn't want to go there.
Participants must remain part-time or full-time employees at Walmart to be eligible.
That would be a good deal.
That would be a really good deal.
University of Arizona, I could spend years out there.
Oh, you live now?
We are
Oh,
now
yeah.
official.
Official.
Yes.
Then let's call the July 28th meeting of the Lackawanna Police Commission to order, and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Frank, you don't have shorts on today, so you.
What's
not
that?
dressed- No shorts on, you're not dressed appropriately. Let the minutes show that the recording secretary is Executive Assistant Maureen Marsh. And a roll call, Commissioner Mello,
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Horton, Mr. President. We have a quorum, and we will proceed with the meeting. I'd like to recognize Chief Matthew Canfield, also present. So moving on to personnel matters, commendations, and awards.
We were looking at, a tentative date for our award ceremony of October 20th, that evening. However, it's not locked in. I will let you know when that date is confirmed, but that's the tentative date that we're looking at doing, the annual award ceremony, which was postponed from Police Week in May, so. And that is it.
Resignations, retirement, Chief Canfield.
We had one resignation, which was Officer Nate Hoffman, who was with us for a couple of years as a patrol officer. It was unfortunate to lose him. He resigned in order to go into the private world and go into sales, so he's leaving police work and just decided that career in law enforcement was not for him. So we'll miss him for sure. Wish him the best.
Promotions and classification changes, Chief Canfield.
Nothing?
Moving on to command staff reports, support division, Chief Canfield.
So they've been working very hard on a number of different grants. The recent grant that they submitted was for a justice assistance grant in the area of about $13,000, which was awarded to us based on our crime stats, which will be used for equipment. In addition, they've applied for a school safety grant. This was done in collaboration with the school district to provide some camera and security upgrades to some of the schools in particular. and then to fund what's called a video wall for our dispatch center, so we could monitor video in our dispatch center should something happen. Certainly with nothing to monitor school cameras on a regular basis, but if something were to happen, it would allow easy access and be able to pull those into either a command post location or into our dispatch center. So some very good technology there. That grant would also provide for some more active shooter training and safety threat assessments with all of our schools. So we're hopeful that we get that grant. We recently, the city budget was just recently approved last Monday night, so we started a new budget cycle. And then they've been working on a new grant application for Granite Shield. Granite Shield was an initiative several years ago to combat the drug problems across the state, provided through the governor's office. So we applied for that as of today in the amount of $87,000, which will go to direct enforcement and investigation of drug activity within the city. So some positive work there, and certainly we always do a lot with limited money, but you know, if we get the grants we applied to, it's close to $1 million this year. So certainly that's money that doesn't come out of our budget or city funds. Federal money that's allocated for somewhere, and certainly really beneficial to us and to the city of Laconia. So some really good work there.
Who does mostly grant writing for that?
We actually, Gary Hubbard does the majority of it, along with Mackenzie Harrington from the school district. So she works part-time for us.
Okay, yeah.
She's got kind of the insight into that really grant writing insight. So they work collaboratively on that together.
Yeah, good.
All right, moving on to Operations Division, Chief Canfield.
So they've been working, it's been a very busy summer. They've been working to transition the patrol schedule from the antiquated Excel format that the current schedule is done in, into a more modern scheduling program called InTime software. So that's been a lot of training and a lot of transition time, but they expect to go live with that scheduling on September 5th. This will allow officers to view their particular schedule on an app on their phone, as well as submit leave requests electronically, instead of coming into the PD and having to look at the Excel spreadsheet. So moving in a little bit more of technology as far as that goes. They've been working hard for planning for the triathlon event, which will take place on August 22nd. It's going to have some major impacts on traffic and road closures. So we expect that to be a busy day with a lot of officers working. And then lastly, they've been working on the fall schedule already. So that's been posted and bid out. That's it for operations.
Questions? Okay, hirings, Chief Canfield.
Nothing?
And moving on to commission action. You've all received a copy of the meeting minutes of June 16th. Any questions, additions, deletions, concerns?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Second that?
Okay, all in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Aye. On a motion made by Commissioner Mello, was seconded by Commissioner Davis, passes unanimously. The meeting minutes of June 16th are accepted as distributed. Review of monthly highlights, activity reports, department monthly highlights, Chief Canfield.
If you get back up just 1 second to number 7 for the out-of-state schools.
Oh, okay.
So I have a request for Officer Evan Shaheen to attend the Reed Interview and Interrogation School in Boston, Mass. This is held, will be held from August 24th to August 27th. The cost for the school is $820. This is a nationally recognized interview and interrogation school that a lot of our officers have gone through, and it leads them to being better investigators. He has family in the Boston area that he can stay with, so there'll be no cost for housing or meals, so it'll be directly for the cost and attendance at that school. So we'll be looking for a vote on that.
I make a motion, we send this, act on the training of sending Officer Shaheen to school in Boston.
A second?
I will second that.
No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A motion made by Commissioner Mello, was seconded by Commissioner Davis, passes unanimously to send Officer Shaheen to the Reed Interview and Interrogation School in Boston from August 24th through the 27th.
And I do have one other out-of-state school request. It's part of it was actually one of our goals and objectives for this year, but with COVID, things kind of got backlogged, and they haven't made a lot of headway, but it certainly would be one of our big goals for next year, and that is in the area of our detective unit. So we're trying to get them a lot more specialized training, because everything that they deal with now is either cybercrime, computer-related crime, or cell phone crime. So they've been going to doing a lot of investigations related to that. One of the goals that we had identified with staff as far as their abilities to investigate crimes was serious crimes, whether it be serious assaults, robberies, stabbings, or homicides. So Lieutenant Butler has been working closely with the Attorney General's office as far as looking to obtain what type of training they need to become certified to do better investigations. And we've always worked very well hand in hand with the State Police Major Crime Unit in cases of homicides, but a typical homicide investigation runs the same course as a serious assault or felony level investigation. So they were looking to increase their ability to investigate those types of crime, which there's 3 specific schools that they would have to go to. The first one is death and untimely death investigation school, and then the advanced school, in order to be essentially blessed by the Attorney General's office to take the lead on those types of cases. So certainly that would enhance our ability to work with major crimes and do the homicide cases, but it would also increase their ability to do our major case investigations. So I do have a memo that, unfortunately, it wasn't distributed to do soon enough, because I just received it yesterday, outlining that plan to get our detective unit to that level. As such, there is a school in December that if we were to get them into, they would have to be registered for sooner than later, because it fills up very fast. So that request would be to send the 7 detectives to Las Vegas, Nevada from December 6th through the 10th to attend the basic death and homicide investigation school in Las Vegas. According to the Attorney General's office, that is, they've acknowledged their training and abilities that they already have, and they're saying that this is the next step to get that certification. The total cost of sending them would be $12,160, which we would offset $4,026 of that from that Justice Assistance Grant, and then we would take the remaining approximately $8,000 out of our training budget in order to fund that. So certainly a very significant amount of money, but I think this is an effort that establishes a real expertise in our detective unit, between the Faro laser scanning that they've done with the accident reconstruction and crime scene abilities to do that in the drone footage and digital photography. This is kind of the next step to get them that expertise to investigate these crimes to a further extent. So there'll be much more to come on that certification for the detective unit at another time. they'll certainly be doing a presentation to the commission. But the immediate need is to hear this request and consider that for approval, to send them to that training.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to send the 7 detectives to Las Vegas to a homicide school dealing primarily with untimely deaths, Chief.
Correct.
So move.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on a motion made by Commissioner Mello with a second by Commissioner Davis, it passes unanimously. The motion to send 7 detectives to Las Vegas for homicide school training is approved.
And I will get you a copy of this memo from Lieutenant Butler, outlining the plan for that.
Anything else on, okay, moving on to.
Yeah, I give it to him.
Moving on to department monthly highlights. Chief Canfield.
So for the month of June, we responded to 2,798 calls for service, which was up 40% from last year. Investigated 342 criminal offenses, made a total of 107 physical custody arrests, conducted 1,148 motor vehicle stops, which is up 91%. So certainly we've been putting a big emphasis on traffic enforcement, trying to curb some of our complaints of either distracted driving or erratic driving or speeding complaints in certain areas. We issued 87 motor vehicle summonses, 932 motor vehicle written warnings. We had no fatal accidents for the month. However, we did have a total of 65 motor vehicle accidents, 30 of which were with injury. Probably half of those were, at least half of those were contributed to Motorcycle Week time frame. 7 DWI arrests. We took 33 people into custody for intoxication. Responded to a total of 43 domestic disturbances, 146 other disturbances, 5 suicidal subjects, and investigated 8 violation of restraining orders. And that's it for monthly highlights.
Any questions? And moving on then to criminal investigative unit statistics. Chief Canfield.
So for the month of June, they were assigned 28 initial cases, conducted 17 follow-ups, made 2 felony-level arrests, initiated 5 felony charges, initiated 7 misdemeanor charges, conducted 30 search warrants, which is reflective to the type of police work that they have to do now as far as investigations of phones or computers, or it's all search warrants now. So to do 30 search warrants in a month's time frame is a lot. They cleared 4 cases exceptionally, conducted 16 sex offender registrations, 8 drug intel sheets. They helped cover patrol shifts, 29 patrol shifts, which was attributed mostly to Motorcycle Week. Conducted 1 polygraph exam, 23.5 training hours, and 72 body-worn camera redactions. Speaking of polygraph, Dan Carson is back from his polygraph school in Pennsylvania. So he is operating under the tutelage of Lieutenant Butler in order to get his required number of polygraph examinations under his tutelage before he's actually certified to conduct them on his own. So that's a great mentorship that they have going on, and I think it'll be a plus to our detective abilities in detective unit.
Moving on to budget printouts. Chief Canfield.
Our budget year was fine as of the year ending last year, and certainly we started in budget year as of July 1st.
How much money was turned back to the city? Do you,
We were close to breaking even, all said and done. with some purchases that we had at the end. We purchased some radios towards the command post, so I think we were close to being even towards the end.
Good. Monthly traffic statistics, Chief Canfield.
For the month of June, we issued a total of 313 parking tickets, investigated 65 motor vehicle accidents, 30 of which were with injury. Primary location for accident locations was, or reasons, was unsafe backing, which attributed to 15 of those accidents, followed by driver inattention or distraction, which accounted for 13 of those accidents. Location, primary location for accidents was on Union Avenue, which attributed to 13 of the crashes, followed by 8 on Endicott Street North. Again, I think that was Motorcycle Week related, so that's why we saw so many on Endicott Street North. And then we made a total of 1,149 motor vehicle stops for the month.
No questions, so let's move on to monthly fleet report.
So with the start of the new budget, we were approved for 3 new patrol vehicles. These were ordered on a tentative basis last March, and we just received word that they're about 4.5 months out. So I guess that's due to everything nowadays that the factories
Which
are
year is
slow.
that?
But they'll be here at some point, hopefully by the end of the year.
Maybe.
The new Explorers were quite a bit cheaper than previous purchases of Explorers. We're looking at, like, car 1, 25,000, that's the current purchase. But looking at, I just was curious, like, car 4, which was purchased in 2018 for 30 grand. And they like consistent, like, they're $5,000 cheaper with the current purchase than they were.
Yeah, I mean, that does seem like a big fluctuation. They do fluctuate in price depending who gets
The
the
bid.
state bid and
Yeah.
where that goes. They also changed the model, so we went from the sedans
That
to
was-
the Explorer
Yeah.
style, so I think that might have attributed some of it too.
Is that on a state bid, or is it just locally that you bid them out, or how does that?
There is a state bid. I think this year it was Portsmouth Ford, maybe it was Londonderry Ford. And what we did is we went to Irwin Motors, because they're here in Laconia, and they're a
Right.
Ford dealership.
Sure.
And basically asked, if they could match the state bid price, we would purchase from there, and they did, so we're getting it from Irwin's. Certainly being a city business, I think it's nice to be able to give business back to
Yeah.
businesses in
yeah.
Laconia, than it is to
Yeah.
purchase from another one. So, last year, I think Irwin's got the state bid. They typically get the state bid, but for some reason they didn't this year, so.
Correspondence, it could be to and from the department, Chief Canfield.
There was a nice letter from the Director of Police Standards and Training, thanking Officer Tyler Babineau and Tyler Rouse for coming down and helping with their defensive tactics program. There was another nice letter from someone that I had met during Motorcycle Week. There was a nice letter from a resident on Arch Street, who thanked us for helping during a tough situation. Another one for a house check, and then certainly another note from a family that we helped. So some nice correspondence.
Nice. Moving on to Chief's report.
So we will not be doing a national night out this year, just because of the logistics and scheduling and the way the spring and summer has fallen. However, we will be resuming the Citizen Police Academy in September. So Officer Eric Adams will be heading that up, and certainly looking for people to attend, members of the public. So we're excited to begin somewhat normalcy here and resume the Citizen Academy. We have a staff meeting and training coming up. Staff meeting's the end of this month, and then we'll be doing a training with Primex. They'll be doing behavioral analysis assessments for all of our staff and supervisors, learning better ways to communicate and read each other and learn how to communicate, the communication styles of other supervisors to improve communication in that regard. And I've had a number of conversations with Rick Alpers from Primex, who has been very helpful, and certainly I think this will be a benefit to our leadership team. We continue to work on the policy review. As you remember, a couple years ago, we had contracted with the Daigle Law Office Group to do a certain number of policies every year, just to do a legal review. And even though we're CLIA accredited, they all meet CLIA national accreditation standards, but we thought it was important that we put all of our policies and procedures before a legal review, which to my knowledge we've never done. So we continue to do that, and we've made some good improvements to them, and we'll be looking to issue out a few more of those come the fall. The cop cards were submitted a while ago at this point, so we're looking forward to receiving those and using those as a way to connect with the youth of our community. And then I met with Alan Beadle, who is the owner of Patrick's, who does a lot with the children's auction. Although he stepped away from some of that, but he's still doing the community challenge, which is a different organizations and businesses come up with a team in order to raise $2,500 to benefit the children's auction. So we'll be creating a team within the police department to work together to raise that money to benefit the children's auction. So we look forward to that. And then lastly, October 6th, the New Hampshire Chiefs Association will be doing a fundraiser that we do every year except for last year because of COVID, working with McDonald's to promote and better law enforcement across the state. So this will be done at nearly every community that has a McDonald's, and that will be held on October 6th from 4 to 7 p.m. So you're certainly more than welcome to attend with them. As such, they also recognize officers of the community for community policing, excellence in community policing. So I'll be looking to submit a few of our employees for that award, which hopefully they'll get. So
Where do they have that? In the other, right?
that'll be right at
At
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah.
Yep. And then lastly, we have a total of 39 drug overdose calls year to date. Last year there was a total of, for the entire year was 78. And we have 2 suspected drug overdose deaths currently. And that's it for my report.
How long did it take them to determine if the deaths were indeed drug overdoses?
You know, a lot of them we pretty much can recognize pretty quickly that if they're probably related to drug overdose, but as far as actual confirmation, it can take a while. To get the toxicology reports back can take months.
Really? That long? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why, like, on the actual report, this one, I know we've had 2 that are confirmed, so most likely that number will probably go up a little bit once we get some more results back. But they do take a while. I know that they'll actively work in one recently that we hope to make some charges for providing the drugs that led to the person being deceased. So they can be lengthy, and certainly they can be very difficult cases to prove, but I think between the work that detectives are doing on that, in combination with what Eric Adams is doing, we're making a difference, so.
Questions? Moving on to old business. Chief?
Nothing?
New business?
Nothing?
Other business?
Nothing?
Citizens' comments? Right. Confirmation of the next meeting, August 18th. Okay, 18th.
Just have a question. What's staffing levels now with Officer Hoffman leaving? Is there vacancies that we have, or
That will leave us with two
two
vacancies now.
vacancies?
We had one previously, and then with Nate leaving, we have two. We're still waiting on Great Bay. They do our written test. Just had a conversation with the two captains today as far as how we're gonna proceed, because Great Bay typically does a test every quarter. And so far, they haven't done anything since COVID, so not sure how long we'll wait around for them to open that back up before we look to do something ourselves. Because I'd certainly like to get that ball rolling and fill those vacancies as soon as possible, so.
Yeah, before we go to non-public, I gave Laurie a thing yesterday, Belknap County Alert. Had you heard of that before, that organization?
I've never heard of it, but I did think it was interesting that it came from Florida.
Yeah, it was the Belknap County Appeal. That word on the, outside of the envelope, Belknap County Appeal. And it was for donations for, families of officers who had a death in the family or, needed, but just,
Yeah, it just seemed a little weird, because it was the organization's from Florida, and they're targeting people in Belknap County, so I don't, it might have been more of a national organization, and they're just targeting money locally to go back to the national, but it seemed a little strange.
yeah. I didn't know if you'd heard of it before.
No.
It's just
I would think so.
bizarre.
Yeah.
I've gotten a couple calls from, what they term themselves, like Police Officers Association or
Yeah.
something along those lines. Is that a legitimate thing, or is that?
Our union will do a fundraiser every once in a while. They're not doing one now. And then the New Hampshire Association sometimes will do it, but, I mean, there are some strange ones. I've gotten the calls too, and I say, well, that's interesting, because I'm not aware of it. And they hang up, so, yeah, you do wonder the legitimacy of
Yeah,
it sometimes. Unfortunately, I think they prey on that, and the fire department, I think they just had someone was calling residents saying that they were soliciting funds on behalf of the fire department, when in reality, they weren't,
Right.
so, sometimes
I think I got one of those calls.
Did you? Yeah, so I think, if anyone has any question as far as the legitimacy, just call the PD and ask.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of spam calls, and I said, this could be a spam, and I don't even answer it.
Yeah. I do have a request to move the non-public to August 4th, next Wednesday at 10:30, if the commission's available. We just don't have a document available right now.
Oh, so just, forget this non-public now and,
Yes.
okay,
And then do it next Wednesday, August 4th
August 4th.
at 10:30.
Here?
I think we can do that at the PD,
Or
right?
PD?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody has any conflicts?
Yeah, but that's all, no, 4th of the no problem.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll be on the beach in Maine, but I'll come back. Coming back anyway, so no problem.
Are you sure? I don't want to
Yeah.
make come all the way back for
No,
that.
that's good. I just come back early.
Hold it
So,
up there.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So,
That's good. So I guess we can go on to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye. Unanimous on a motion made by Commissioner Davis, was seconded by Commissioner Mello. That passes unanimously, and the meeting was adjourned at 3:35 PM.
That's next Wednesday, right?
Yes, sir.
The,
We're going in Maine.
what's the date?